Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're talking Invincible, episodes 1, 2, and 3. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent, and today we're talking Invincibles, episodes 1, 2, and 3. They dropped last night on Thursday, but the release date was today, so I watched them all today on Friday, so we're going to talk about them now. So, before you leave to go watch them, or finish this review, let me ask you to do one thing. Please subscribe. Helps me out, lets you know when I drop new videos. If you want that instant notification, hit that bell, and we will get on to the review from here. So, what is Invincible? Well, Invincible originally was a comic series by creator Robert Kirkman and Cory Walker. We then had Ryan Otley jump on. He did most of the series. And when I say most, I mean like this thing ran for, 140 issues, 150, maybe longer than that. I don't know the exact number, but it ran a long, long time, like over 10 years. And Cory Walker was the original artist, and he jumped off after issue 8. And then everything after that was done by the artist his name is Ryan Otley, Ottley. He's a phenomenal artist. You can see him grow as you read the comic book series from issue 9 where he starts all the way to the end. Like literally, he did every single issue after that. Very similar to how Charlie Adlar did every issue of Walking Dead from 7 all the way to the end as well. So I don't know what it is about Robert Kirkman about getting one artist for the first arc or two and then bouncing to your real regular artist who most fans consider the co-creator of the series or whatever. Certainly, yeah, Cory Walker gets credited, but I was happy to see that Ryan Otley gets credited also, a creator credit also on this series at the end of the first episode. It says, created by Robert Kirkman, Cory Walker, and Ryan Otley. That was nice to see as the guy who did most of the lifting and created the world and all that stuff. So, it was a comic series. It was published under Image Comics. That's the biggest independent comics publisher if you don't know anything about comics right now. All the creators maintain all their own rights. They don't belong to Image Comics or anything. They just publish them. You come with them with an idea. You say, here's my idea. They say, okay, let's do it. Maybe they front you upfront costs, but the creators keep all the rights and a lot of the profits, things like that. There's no page rates or anything like that with Image. It's all hoping you can sell a lot of comics. So this series is a whole lot of fun. The comic book series. The animated series, I'm not so sure about. I did like the first episode. I think the first episode is worth a watch, but I was kind of hoping for a little bit faster pace. Having read not all of the comic book series, but at least half of it, I was hoping for a little bit faster pace, judging on how fast the comic book series made their turn. But I can understand that turn. If you know what I'm talking about, this is what I'm winking at. We haven't gotten there in the animated series yet, so I don't want to give it away. But that turn is similar to like Ned Stark in season 1 of Game of Thrones' turn of what happens. Not in what happens to whatever character I'm talking about, but just in terms of the level of, whoa, holy shit, where do we go from here? There's a big turn coming. So I think they're going to take their time and make it to the end of season 1. There are 8 episodes in this season. They're all 40 minutes long. So we got the first 3 today or last night if you started watching it then. And there are 5 more after this. And they will be released weekly every Friday from here until the end of the season. So no word yet on a season 2. Obviously it's the first day. But I think they need to get to a season 2. Most of the comic book series happens after this big event. And dealing with the ramifications and exploring where they go from there. And it was that turn, actually, that made the comic book series the most interesting superhero book running pretty much at the time. Because it subverted expectations. If there's one thing that Kirkman is good at, it's subverting expectations. He's not loyal to any of his characters. He's willing to kill off characters at any time just to get a shock. Was what it feels like sometimes. Other times there's good reasons for it, but there's always exciting things happening in his books, and Invincible is no exception. I'm reading Firepower by him and Chris Samney right now. That's an excellent book. Go check it out. If you haven't read any of The Walking Dead, you can go check that out, or go watch there's like 10 seasons of the television series right now. It's ridiculous. But Invincible was always, I think, my favorite. I mean, I've read all The Walking Dead. I really enjoyed it. I followed it all the way to the end. But for whatever reason, I never picked up Invincible to the end, even though I thought it was the stronger book when I read like the first half of what the series ended up being at the time. I just never jumped back into it. I think maybe because it's more superheroes and Walking Dead was something different. And if they're going to do that same thing here in this superhero glut of television we're living in now, I mean, we're talking about WandaVision, we got The Boys, we got Umbrella Academy, we got Falcon and Winter Soldier, and all the laundry list of the Marvel TV shows that are coming, much less HBO Max has Titans and Doom Patrol and all that stuff that they're producing as well. If Invincible is trying to subvert expectations for a superhero show, they need to do it a lot faster. I thought the first 3 episodes were good, but I am not edge of my seat, can't wait for next week. Like, I could probably let these pile up a little bit. I think they're keeping this main twist for the end of the season. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like. And I see how you could want to do that, but because it builds it's definitely a defined arc in the comic books, and definitely could be a defined arc for your season of television. But what I was saying is, like, the reason that Invincible is so fun as a comic book series is that turn is really the launching point. That, I mean, yeah, there might maybe like 9 or 12 issues before that turn, but it's really the launching point. It's really like the issue 1 of everything else that comes afterwards. So I wish they would get to that faster. But in terms of voice cast, this thing is phenomenal. You've got Stephen Yeun from Walking Dead playing Mark Grayson, our main character, Invincible. He's also recently nominated for an Oscar. He's doing a great job here. You got J.K. Simmons as his dad, Omni-Man, who's basically Superman in this world. Sandra Oh as their mother, Debbie. Zazie Beetz, Walton Goggins, Jillian Jacobs from Community, Jason Mantzoukas as Rex Splode, whom I hated a little bit in the beginning, but as of the 3rd episode, I'm like, okay, I can dig him as this character. Kevin Michael Richardson, Zachary Quinto, Andrew Reynolds, Chris Diamantopoulos, Mark Hamill's in here for a little bit, Seth Rogen, Kari Payton, Michael Dorn. Whole lot of grade A voice actors. Even John Hamm is in the first 2 episodes. So the voice cast is great. I mean, it's worth a watch for that alone. For me, I think having read the comics, maybe it suffers a little bit because I'm expecting this big turn. I'm looking for it. I'm waiting for it. Or when are they going to do it? So I think maybe my expectations are a little bit higher than maybe yours are if you haven't read Invincible. So I do encourage you to go watch it. I think it's enjoyable. It's definitely not for kids. We're talking about a world where superheroes are fully realized. So the concept is basically like, what if your dad was Superman and superheroes exist in the real world with real consequences and real physics, basically is what it is. When people get blasted with ray guns, they don't get shot. They're not concussion beams or whatever the hell that is. No. If you're getting shot with a ray gun, you're getting shot with energy, which would be probably pretty similar to getting shot with radiation or something like that. If you get shot with a ray gun in this world, you explode. You lose some limbs. If you get punched through a wall, you're going to break a lot of bones. And if you get super punched through a wall, or a few of them, you're going to take down the entire building. So this is superheroes taken to 11. So if you like The Boys and how real they treat their characters with real stakes, real consequences, you will like this show if that's the biggest part you like about The Boys. The humor is a lot less dark than The Boys is currently in these 3 episodes. It is animated, it's bright, it's colorful, so there's that. So it's not quite as dark as The Boys per se. But it's still, again, similar to The Boys, is a fully realized superhero world. We're not building one hero at a time. You're dropped in, there's superheroes everywhere, there's secret identities, there's a team, the Guardians of the Globe, which is like the JLA, and they're stopping threats, stopping villains all the time. So it's like superheroes taken to the max, where there's always something going on, there's always heroes battling. You're introduced to different heroes throughout each different episode. Some are memorable, some are not. And that part of the fully realized world with real stakes and real consequences and real physics is, I think, what grabbed me about Invincible also. Ryan Otley's art in the books, very violent, very hyper-detailed, and it helps bring that level of consequences and stakes to the page. In the animated show, we're doing the same thing. We've got fairly simple character designs, and they are designed by Corey Walker. He's the lead character designer on the show. So that's cool to get one of the original creators to do all the character designs. But when the action sequences kick in, they kind of turn up the notch a little bit on the animation. Certainly all the blood comes out, all the speed lines, all the expressions, all that stuff. And that's when these characters really start to resemble Ryan Otley more than they do Corey Walker. Like if you look at the original art for the first couple issues of Invincible, it's very simple, very straightforward, very animated style. And then you get to Ryan Otley, and it's a lot more stylized, like Ryan Stegman. Ryan Otley's been doing issues of Spider-Man the last couple of years. He stopped since he's moving on to something else. But he's getting out there, and it's great to see him do other things other than Invincible, because he was not stuck on that book for so long, but boy, he could have really exploded if he had jumped ship. But I commend him for sticking to the book and seeing out him and Kirkman's vision, because he became a co-creator of that book, in my mind, and probably many fans' minds, since he stuck it out for so long, similar to Charlie Adlard, as I was saying earlier. But the show, I think, is paced a little bit slow, and I think also it gets hurt because of its long length. Each episode is 49 minutes long, 50 minutes. It's up there. It's not the 30 minutes or to 20 minutes. Like if you're watching Blood of Zeus or Castlevania on Netflix, those adult animated shows, they're quick bites. You can watch one, and there's enough of an arc from one to the other that by the time that episode ends, even if you're a little bit bored, they might have a good enough cliffhanger to jump you into the next one. Invincible has that same idea of everything. There's always something at the end of the episode to make you jump to the next one. But since that space between the beginning and the end is a little bit longer, there's more of a lull in some of these episodes, I think it suffers for that. There were times where I was a little bored, honestly. But also that may be due to my expectations of waiting for this big turn and not knowing when it's going to happen. So hopefully next week when we watch episode 4, my expectations will be a little bit different, and I'm no longer assuming they're going to get to it in the first 3 episodes. So, maybe I'll view it a little bit better. But I think it is good. It is fun, but it's not as ball-bustingly funny as The Boys is. It doesn't have that dark side. It's still a little bright and cheerful in terms of like the colors and stuff, I guess because it's animation, but it's not trying to be dark. It's just trying to be real. So again, not for kids, but it's not as adult oriented as The Boys is currently on Amazon Prime. So I recommend you check it out if you're interested in superhero stuff at all. If you're watching this channel, you might be one of those people anyway. You might say, oh, Brent, I've already watched it, or you're crazy, this was awesome, blah blah blah. You have 2x high expectations. Sure, but you gotta also realize, like, I watched this the same day I watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, the second episode, twice, right? All this stuff is coming out at once. Yeah, maybe you're not meant to consume it all in the same time period or all in the same day, but when we're in literally like superhero heaven right now, with as much content as we're getting on televisions, on movies, the Snyder Cut is every Snyder fan's wet dream. This just doesn't stand up to that level of expectation, honestly. And the trailers were good. The trailers got me hyped. I'm in. I'm going to watch the whole season. But I hope that they can pace it a little bit better and offer more tidbits to keep the story moving faster, because, quite frankly, I'm bored by the typical coming-of-age superhero origin that we're getting right now in Season 1, because I know, and this is the problem probably, because I know that there's a big turn that takes this to the next level. And I want the next level part of the show, not this, whatever this first season is. And yeah, let the first season be the first season, Brent. Like, was Game of Thrones awesome in Season 1 versus Season 2 or 3 with the Red Wedding? Arguable. I think so. But I really enjoyed Season 1 not knowing what's coming. So maybe if you don't know what's coming, you're going to enjoy it a whole lot more than me. Let me know down below in the comments. I will respond as always. And thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.